Welcome to Steeler Weekly. I'm your host, Brian Schmidt. Alongside me, my co-host, former Pittsburgh Steeler wide receiver, Dwight Stone. Dwight, welcome to the show. How's everything going?
Hey, everything's going pretty good. Just ready to start this football season off, 2016, and I'm excited about it.
Is there anything better than this time of year? I was talking to somebody about this today, and I said, every year I keep thinking, the beginning of college football season, the beginning of NFL season, the beginning of, I coach professional indoor arena, the beginning season, you always think it's going to be less exciting, but it gets here, and you just are so excited for everything to start.
You are so right. It's kind of like, I guess, like a soap opera. You always want to see what's going to happen next. Last year ended with a little bad taste in your mouth, and you want to start like the following week, but you have to wait a couple of months before you start off.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the 2016 Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's talk about the defense, because I think for this team to go to the Super Bowl, defensive side of the ball has got to be better than last year. Now, last year, obviously, created turnovers, good against the run, but against teams who had good quarterbacks and especially good tight ends, the secondary struggled. And so let's talk a little bit about the secondary. Obviously, William Gay, Mike Mitchell, Robert Golden, Cockrell, we got, Artie Burns. Talk a little bit about what they need to do to get this defense to the next level. And do you feel that the secondary can be better?
I really do. I think the guys look back and they had time to study some more tape. And I guess also you got to grow together. Sometimes when you put together as a team, it may seem as a team, but sometimes you still can be off key with each other. The safeties, getting a bad understanding what the corner's trying to do, and everybody on different pages. And pretty much around the league, everybody's saying that. So this is no different than now. I think Mike Mitchell's going to step up, and I'm sure they're expecting a lot from Burns coming this year too.
Absolutely. And what are your thoughts on William Gay? You hear people, one game he looks incredible. Another game he seems non-existent. I mean, what are your thoughts on him, and where do you feel like he needs to be to improve?
I think he's one of those young men that when you go out on the field, sometimes if you just let your natural ability take the course, it works out great. It's just like you're game on. And sometimes when you go out there and try to do too much and just understanding that, hey, there's 10 other guys out here that have a job to do, as long as I'm doing 100% on my job and I'm not worried about them, it should make him more of a consistent player than he has been. His heart is in it. He wants to do good. It's not like, any other player. I think this is going to be a good year for him. I think that he's going to finally settle down and realize that, hey, I just worry about myself and trust the other 10, and he'll be fine.
Let's talk about the linebacker, because I'll tell you, I love this linebacking core. When you talk about both Ryan Shazier, former Ohio State Buckeye, Timmons, Jarvis Jones, and does James Harrison ever age?
You talking about a guy? Matter of fact, I think I was doing an interview for somebody, and we was talking about different scenarios. They said, hey, and this is just the weirdest thing. They said, if you was in a foxhole, who you want to have in there with you? People, thought I may say somebody who I played with, like Greg Lloyd or someone of that nature. I actually said, I would have him. I mean, this guy right here is just amazing. His heart and his work ethics are above anyone else. His heart is in it. If you can take his heart, you can probably cut it up into 11 pieces and give everybody a piece of it, and I tell you, that defense would be crazy. And I love to see Harris play. I mean, he just brings up into the game. He reminds me of Hine Ward, but on the defensive side of the ball.
That's exactly the guy who does remind you of Hine Ward. And the thing about James Harrison, and I, for people out there that have never seen it, find him on Twitter, find him on social media. Look at some of his workout videos. This guy's crazy.
It got crazy.
This guy's workout. I mean, I watch some of his videos and I get tired. I mean, I'm amazed at how this guy's workouts are insane.
Yes.
You know, and it's just amazing. You know, watching him play, and like I said, I mean, I just wonder if the guy ever ages. He doesn't seem to slow down. And you know, we talk about Ryan Shazier. I mean, here's a guy that I just think last year got better as the year went on, and I think he's really starting to come into his own, and now be that guy. Not only be a guy that is going to come up, he's going to hit you, he's going to make great plays, but really seems to be becoming the leader of the defense.
Yes, I think it's almost a changing of the hats, changing of the guards. Harris and them guys who have been the forefront of everything. Don't get me wrong, they're still going to be the big dogs, but they're ready to pass the torch on to the young man who will step up. I mean, he got stronger as the season went on, and he just need to carry that on. I think he will. It's just one thing about the Steelers' defense. They're always known for their defense, and I think Harrison ready to pass the torch off to this young man, and I think he's not going to disappoint anybody this year.
Let's talk about defensive line, and obviously Cameron Hayward is the is the leader on that, but let's talk about some of the other guys as well. You got Javon Hargrave, you got Tuitt. Talk a little bit about the defensive line and the key that they are to this 2016 Steelers defense.
Yes, I mean everybody don't realize it starts. Hayward is above all. I mean he's gonna bring it. I remember playing with his dad, Ironhead. I mean he still have that kind of drive that his dad has. I mean he's fearless. He's always trying to get better. And the nose guard is going to be a big thing for the Steelers. I think that's going to be something to look at, see who's going to be the head guy, because it's kind of, the old hat, wants to show everybody that this is his yard, but you got the young cat pushing him, letting him know that, hey, I'm ready to take over if you're not ready, to lead. So you got to make a path, follow a path, or get out the way. You got to do something, because that line is like anywhere around. If you got a double one or two guys on the line, you free up the linebackers, and they love that, and that get them free fall for anything. So I'm looking forward to the line stepping up, and it's going to be a battle to see who's going to be the nose guard. I think Hayward and Hargrave is going to be great guys, to watch this year.
Let's flip over to the offense, and I tell you, I love watching the Steeler offense. Being I've been coaching over 20. I've been coaching over 20 years. I'm an offensive guy. I love watching this offense, and I've always loved watching Big Ben play. And my first question to you is this, and something I was thinking about today, knowing we were going to do the show tonight, is as far as active quarterbacks in the NFL, where do you rate Ben Roethlisberger?
Okay.
I kind of have my own thought. I want to get yours on this because, you talk to people and, they'll put Tom Brady as number one. Mm-hmm. And I don't have a problem with that. But, now you'll start getting people where, they talk about, Aaron Rodgers number two. Mm-hmm. They might put Ben at number three. They might put Cam Newton at number three. They might put Ben at number four. What's your thoughts on that?
See, and everybody gonna think that I'm saying this because we're doing an interview, and I'm not saying it because we're doing this interview. I put Big Ben as number one. The reason I do is this young man showed last year he coming in after someone goes down hurt, and then come in as a leader and continue to strive. Now this guy done been in a motorcycle accident. He done had more surgeries than anybody I know. I've never seen him complain. He's always picking himself up. I'm telling you, if you could take his heart, like we was talking about Harrison, cut up his. I mean, he's the kind of warrior. You start talking like warriors. You can't call somebody a warrior until they does what Big Ben does. I mean, when he comes up there, and the defense know that you got to hit this guy, you got to hit this guy, you got to hit this guy, and then when you hit him that many times, he's going to get back up. It's almost like watching Jason, on these horror movies. You think you're done with him, he'll pop back up, and he go again. And sure enough, he has done it time and time again, and he has done it in some good situation and some bad situation. And like I said, and Big Ben will be about 1 or number 2 in the NFL as quarterback.
I would agree. I've always had a great respect for Tom Brady, but I don't know that you can take Tom Brady and you can take Ben, and I don't know that you can have 2 better quarterbacks and 2 guys who are just, and you brought up the Warrior factor, and you just don't see players like this as much now as you used to. I mean, how many quarterbacks after the injury that happened, in the playoff game, how many quarterbacks are coming back in?
Yes.
And leading their team down to win a football game. I mean, you don't see that in the NFL as much, as certainly, and not to tell my age, but I mean, you saw that back in the 80s. You saw that back in the 70s.
Yeah.
You don't see that now. Guys that have that. I mean, look at the amount of time. How many times over his career that he just played with injuries that most guys would have sat out.
Yes, exists. It's like some guys would have sat out for the whole year. Like I say, if you look at Harrison and you look at Big Ben, those are the players that the Steelers had in the 70s. Those guys could have played back then when they didn't have all those rules, They're the kind of guys that, if you go to war with, if you got them 2 guys or you go into the saloon fight back in the Western days, you want to go with them 2 guys because you know that, hey, they ain't going to leave me in there. We're all coming out together or we're not coming out at all. And that's the kind of guy you want in a manhole with you or in the saloon with you.
I agree. And talking about the quarterbacks, we talked about the backups, Landry Jones,
yes.
Mettenberger. I mean, there were a few times last year Landry Jones played, and he'd come in and look well.
Yes.
And other times, I mean, oh boy.
Yes.
Is signing Mettenberger, is that a sign that he'll end up? Even though I know the depth chart, I believe when I looked, it said he was number 3, but is that a sign that whereas the season goes on, maybe they're looking for him to be the number 2 guy?
It could be. I mean, because, like you said, with Jones, I mean, sometimes he's like setting the world on fire. I'm thinking like, wow, who is this guy? Where'd he come from? But like you said, now, number 3 is number 2. They may put on there number 3 on the depth chart, but if you look at it, you actually talk to the coaches and put them on the lie detector test and say, hey, being honest, let's just talk about this. Who's number 2? And you can say they could be neck and neck, and they'll be honest with you. They're ready to go with a guy, such as that, to step up. Because number 3, I think, is just a number they're giving to him. But in their hearts and understand, I bet you they look at him as number 2.
Let's talk about the running back situation. Obviously, Bell's out.
Oh, yes.
But here's a guy that I'll tell you, I was listening to a fantasy show again here on the Grueling Truth, and they were talking about don't play D'Angelo Williams this week, and blah, blah, but yet here is a guy that when Bell was out last year, that was unbelievable.
Yes.
I told people I thought, he ended up being maybe the best pickup of anybody in the NFL last year, just because when Bell went down without Williams, there would have been a whole lot of But yet this guy came in and I mean, the offense didn't miss a beat, the run game didn't miss a beat. Talk about, D'Angelo Williams and obviously talk about, when Bell comes back, but I mean, this is not your prototypical, second string running back. This is an outstanding running back that really can take over a game.
Yes, I mean, I watched D'Angelo down here in Carolina. And I told people that I had certain players that I love to watch play, and D'Angelo was one of them. Whenever he signed with Pittsburgh, I called Todd Haley up and said, Todd Haley, I said, you may not believe me, and you can if you ever interview Todd, say, did the guy Dwight Stone call you? I said, Todd, I'm telling y'all right now, it's going to be one of the best pickups you ever done. I said, trust me. I said, D'Angelo is what you're hearing about him, getting old and all that. That is not the case at all. I said, trust me, he's going to be an A+ for y'all when you get there. And sure enough, he didn't disappoint me, and he came through. I mean, D'Angelo is the kind of guy that he got down here in Carolina. Stewart was down here, so you kind of had like a crowded running back area, and you got Cam back here running the ball. But, yeah, D'Angelo's got with numbers, salary caps. They started trying to say, okay, we got younger guys do the same thing D'Angelo does. But they didn't realize them young guys couldn't do what D'Angelo does, and they found that out the hard way, and Pittsburgh benefited from that. D'Angelo's a guy that I consider as one of the best-kept secrets, and Pittsburgh happened to grab him, and like he said, I think he was the best pickup for an NFL team last year, and I don't see him slowing down. When Bell come back, that's going to be even better. I mean, what do you get? Somehow you got to put both of them on the field at the same time. You got to find some way to get both out there on the same time, because that put a defense even more headaches. That you got, you got Big Ben, then you got two more beasts in the back. I don't know how you're going to do it, but Todd Haley is pretty good. He's a genius with designing plays. I think he's working on that on the off season.
I would think so. Tight end position. Boy, I'm gonna miss not having Miller around.
Man, Miller time.
I mean, you know, as a guy that has gone to Steeler games and you know, he's a guy that everybody just gets excited about, and
yes.
he was such a great tight end, pass catcher, blocker in the run game. You know, you've got a tight end, Jesse James, David Johnson, Xavier Grimble. Talk a little bit about this tight end position. I mean, this is a real unknown on this offense.
Exactly.
Talk a little bit about that, and is Jesse James the guy to get it done? He's a young guy, but is he a guy that is going to? I mean, obviously with the injury situation that happened, we didn't have the tight end we thought we were going to have, from San Diego. How does this change? How does this change the offense? And is Jesse James a guy that can step up and be be part of the offense?
Let's say Big Ben love his tight ends. I mean, because when you have Miller as your guy, that whenever everything is shut down, somehow someone happened to cover your receivers. There's one guy in the open, and you got Miller. You got Miller time. So you all got that one guy that, when in doubt, you know who to go to. But now you got Jesse James, and you got a free agent tight end that say, I heard that that he's coming up, and they say he may be the surprise of the training going to do with it. But Jesse James can be that guy. But their way of doing that is you got to get in good with Big Ben. If you can do it at practice, Big Ben gonna look to you during the game, because Miller does it in practice, he does it in the game. So whenever he has a doubt, he always go to Miller. Miller's always bailed him out. I'm sure he's gonna miss him. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna miss him, because when you got Big Ben in the back, and when you got Williams or Bell in the backfield, and then you got Brown out there, I mean, you got all kind of people to look at. But the tight end is going to be one of those points, like I said, on nose guard. That's going to be a big key. I think people are going to double Brown more to see what the tight end is going to do. They're going to say, you got to prove to me that your tight end is good. They say he is. If not, people are not going to double him. They're going to start doubling Brown, and they're going to let Jesse James run around. And, then you got Johnson and all them. So I'm just curious on what they're going to do. I hope the tight ends step up. Like I said, I know Todd Haley has been racking his brain on the off season, knowing that he won't have Miller. but you still also you get another guy in. You get D'Angelo and Dale back.
Right. Offensive line. I think this is one of the better offensive lines in the NFL. Villanueva, Foster. I don't see the Castro, Gilbert.
Crazy. Yes.
I think this is an outstanding offensive line. I'm a little concerned about the depth, but this is an offensive line that there have been times, especially last year, times where just were dominant. Really did some good things. Let's talk about the offensive line. I mean, on offense, I've always believed, your offensive line. I mean, they're the key to everything. The difference between a good offense and a great offense is your offensive line. Talk a little bit about them and, where do you see this offensive line in terms of, I know a lot of people talk about the Bengals offensive line and things like that, but where do you see them in terms as a unit in the NFL?
Yeah, like you said, and Pouncey, he's a quarter point. He's kind of like the Monte Dawson. He's like the head, like you got like a 5-headed dragon. He's right there in the center. He's the main one that you got to keep an eye on. And you say in the depth, when somebody goes down, someone has to step up, and I think that's been a problem, in the past. Guys who have opportunity to step in and make a name for themselves. Someone goes down. They're not doing it. And you put Big Ben in a situation where he's doing more scrambling and you got to do more quick passes and everybody got to carry their weight a little more. But when you get your line, when your line is doing good and, because Cincinnati, they always talking about how good their line is, I guarantee you if these guys stay healthy and the guys behind them realize that if something did happen, it's opportunity of a lifetime to get in there to show them what you can do. But if the line stays healthy, I mean, they're in control of their own destiny. And this is going without two guys, the first 4 games, you're missing Bale, and then you're missing somebody, or you're missing Brian for the whole season, and that put a little damper on things. But at the same time, hey, you got one guy be coming in 3 games, and you got another guy for the year, and you still can do what you want to accomplish. I really believe in that.
Finally, your favorite position.
Oh, my.
Receiver position. We could probably sit here and talk about Antonio Brown for 4 hours.
He's a freak.
I watch him and I just shake my head sometimes because I'm not sure, even when you double team him, I'm not even sure people can cover him with double team.
Yes.
I've watched film. I'm a big, NFL film watcher, and I've watched teams, design defense around double team him and still not cover.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, I'm also Marcus Wheat. I think
I like him.
He really has come into his own. And I like Sammy Coates.
Mm-hmm.
I like Sammy Coates. I like what he does, and I'll tell you, Darius Hayward-Bay, I mean, a lot of people, I think, scoffed at that signing, but there were times at the end of last year where he made plays.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Talk about this receiving core and just, how good they are. And what is it about the Steelers that it's become, the NFL receiving, almost like a receiving university. It just seems like the Steelers have done a great job with that 3rd and 4th round pick as a wide receiver, and he turns into, one of the best in the NFL. And I mean, and we're talking about this receiving core, and we're not even talking about Bryant, who's suspended for a year.
Exactly. You look at, Colts 2 years, Wheaton and 4 years, and you got Brown. He's still a baby. He's 7 years in the league. And I'm talking about Wheaton. I mean, here's a young man right here that, he can benefit from Brown. Colts can benefit from Brown. I mean, first of all, you watch this guy, work ethic is like crazy. I went to Pittsburgh up there this summer, and I went to a Pilates place. And I went in there, and I was talking to a young lady. It just so happened I kind of tracked it down because that's where Brown was doing Pilates. and I watch him on the YouTube. I'm watching this guy like I'm stalking him. And I'm not stalking the guy, but I'm just trying to curious on what level, how does he work out? Why is he's only what? He's only like 6 feet tall, but 5'10", and 180 pounds. I'm thinking like, okay, this guy's not big. He's not, not like he's going to blow your brain, but this guy is, first of all, he played with his heart. Same thing as Hines Ward. He has Hines Ward's heart, for his playing the game. If you love the game, it's not a job. And you can go out there, you see him, and he's going across the middle. At his size now, you can't get guys 6'4", 220 go across the field, but you got him going across, going deep. And, it's just one of those guys that I love to watch him. And like you said, somebody that if you had to do someone like a tape to watch someone, that size doesn't matter. It's what you do when no one else is watching you, how you work out when no one else is watching you. It's how you believe. And you ask anybody in the league, I think Brown is the number one receiver beyond. And I think the Steelers stepped up to the plate, which was it doesn't surprise me they did, but they paid him, because he is worth every penny. And here's a guy never once made any noise about what he's getting paid, never once complained about how the ball was going. When you're a playmaker, you want the ball. I understand that. And is there no reason why he doesn't want the ball? And no matter what situation it is, you can't go wrong with him. But Wheaton and Kof, I think this could be their breakthrough year. Even with Bryant gone, imagine if he was here. You got like you can somehow I don't know how you do that. You put all four receivers out there. You put Bell and D'Angelo Williams out there, and wow, then you got Big Ben back there. Whew, boy, I'm getting excited, and the season haven't even started. They're getting ready to get ready for Washington, and I just can't wait to see how this game's gonna be.
Nobody really ever talks about kickers and punters, but I got to talk about Chris Boswell.
Yes.
Here is a guy that, it's well chronicled last year. Starting kicker gets hurt, make a trade, bring in, and I don't know if it was the pressure. I don't know what it was, but he was missing bad, and now you bring in this guy that you have a kicker camp, so to speak. You bring in all these free agents. You sign this guy, and he had a great season. Great season.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's back, and how important is your kicking in your punting game? Because again, I'll tell you, Jordan Berry as a punter had a great year.
Yes.
Tied the team record net punting average.
Oh wow!
Had 47% of his kicks went inside the 20.
20. That's a win.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about how important special teams are.
I think that I think it was a Minnesota game where the guy missed a kick. It was like close to almost winning the game. I think he kicked the ball and it went wide left. It was the old saying, no one knows the kickers and punters until they miss something that can win a game. But them guys are like they're on the payroll too. They realize that them guys are moving the ball up and down. Sometimes it's going to be one of those days where it's just no one's punching it in, and we need every kick you can get in. And Boswell, when he gets his opportunity, coming from Rice, he's like, man, this is a lifetime. I'm playing with the Pittsburgh Steelers now. Gary Anderson used to kick here. This is Gary Anderson used to be here, and I'm on a team where they actually giving you the job for yours to lose, And there's nothing like that, of course you have people in to push you. Sometimes you need that to bring in a little kicking camp to let them know, like, hey, if you don't do the job, we'll bring somebody else in. And every once in a while you need the reminder to let you know that, hey, I better stay a little longer after practice or go in, before practice and start kicking. And the punter with Barry, if you go out as a freshman, as a rookie, and you see them kind of records, whatever you did that year, you can do more the following year because those kind of years that you can have that 1 year and gone, believe me, last year is gone. Ain't nobody caring about what you did last year. Ask the Carolina Panthers down here. Okay, we went to the Super Bowl. Did you win it? No. Okay, we don't want to hear about it. Even with the Denver Broncos, they won it. All right, who's going to be the new champions? And that's the way it is. You got to have a short-term memory, especially with special team. Field position plays a big role. Like I say, 47% inside, 46% inside the 20. That's a win because we give the defense, more room, and for offense, it helps them, in a battle for field position is great. And I'm just curious on seeing, the punters. I love special team. I'm a special team guy. I love the punters and the kickers, and I want them to do good. And I think it's going to be one of those tick for attack. If you don't do it, I think the Steelers will pull you out real soon and bring someone else in.
Well, I mean, we're getting near kickoff Monday night.
Wow.
7:00. Pittsburgh versus Washington. Washington Redskins last year. Good team, playoff team. This year, there's some questions defensively, questions with the run game. Obviously, Cousins, a good quarterback. They've definitely got some good pieces. You've got Norman, on the defensive side. This is a pretty good first test coming out of the gate. There are no easy games in the NFL. This is a good first test. Especially being on the road. Talk a little bit about Washington. Talk a little bit about what the Steelers need to do to win this football game.
Yeah, Washington is probably looking around, licking their chops, thinking like, okay, here's our opportunity. Monday night game. Who doesn't watch Monday night game? Every player who plays football, even believe it or not, watch a Monday night game, because Monday night game is like where everybody's going to watch everybody. And Washington probably saying that, hey, we were doing good toward the end, got off track. We brought some pieces in that we needed to take us to that next level. Cousin came in, did what he thought he was supposed to be doing, and he's their guy now. He's their guy. He gets a contract. He gets a pocket full of money. And I think he wants to show everybody that, hey, I'm up for a long-term contract. And I think that he's – and then one thing I'm very surprised that it's in Washington. I thought it would be in Pittsburgh, but I guess they want to give Washington a little love, maybe because it's the election coming or something. I don't know what it is, but I was surprised that Pittsburgh didn't get the first game at home. But be that as may, Pittsburgh coming to play. They had, they got Cousins. He's the kind. He realized that he got to go out and prove himself for the whole year. And no better time to do it is on a Monday night game, want a new contract, and want to do it for Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers want to show them that, hey, we're the defense of old. We're going to bring it to you. We're not going to stop. We're going to hit you in the mouth, and we're going to hit you until you give up. You're going to say uncle. On the offside side of the ball, they got Norman, who was down here in Carolina. And this is me speaking, not talking bad about Norman. I think Norman's a good player. But if you look at down here in Carolina, they had a front seven that was crazy. That when you got a front seven that's crazy, it makes the secondary easier, for them to cover. But I think he gonna be in a test. I mean, when you're going against Bale, I don't care what you say. You better have somebody helping you. I don't care how good you think you are or what you read about yourself or what contract you got. When you're playing Bell, you better get somebody to help you, because if not, you will learn real fast that you should have got somebody to help you. I think that it's just going to be a game that can be a loss of motion in it. I think a loss of Redskins going to come out, and they're going to think that, hey, we can hang with them. They got Ziggy Hood and all them guys, and everybody's pumped. I'm thinking that we are going to be more pumped than they are. For us, offense and defense, Big Ben's going to have a big game. I think Big Ben's going to he's the kind of guy that, like I said, I think he's number one, number two in the league by far. You got Brady close second. But I think when it comes down to it, he's going to make it happen. Big Ben's going to make it happen. And the defense gonna show them that they're not gonna let them score touchdowns. They can have more field goals than touchdowns. But I'm looking for special teams to play a big role too. Field position, where you get the ball at and then put them inside the 20 field goal. You may have to make it every once in a while. But I'm looking forward to this game, and I think the coaches are going to be excited. I can't wait to see who's going to outcoach who. Because at the end of the day, it's like to be fourth and inches. Who's going to go for fourth and inches? And this may be the game of inches.
I agree. Yeah, I feel, not only this game, but this season, I mean, the key is going to be the Steeler defense and especially that secondary. We have got to be consistent in the secondary, and I still like the idea that we, be ball hawks, be turnover, but we've got to be more consistent. I think, for me, this is a game that, the first game is not a season make, but I really would like to see this game be a game that the Steeler defense establishes itself.
Yes.
Because the offense is going to be there. The offense is going to be there. There's not a doubt in my mind. They could somehow get shut out in this game, and I'm still going to believe the offense is going to be there.
Yes.
But defensively, this is a game that I believe you start your journey, and this is one where coming out, playing well in the secondary, smacking Washington in the mouth, and really starting to establish that Steeler defense, to me, that's the key that's going to make this team, from a, whether it's 11-5, whether it's 10-6, whether it's 12-4. To me, it's going to establish. Is this a 12-4 team? Is this 11-5 team? Is this, a 10-6 team? Where does this establish? And I think everything comes down to the defense, and that's what excites me about this game. The offense, I'm not worried about. But yes, defensively, I want to see that established, getting back to Steeler. People talk about, Steeler defense. One thing about them is, creating pressure, creating havoc, creating turnovers. And I thought last year, did a real good job of creating turnovers, but there were times against better teams, better quarterbacks, the secondary just looked lost.
Yes.
And I think now, the time that, and I felt that the secondary got better as the season went on. To take that next step. So that's really what I'm looking for. So, it's going to be fun. I hope everybody watches the game and, definitely, get on Rolling Truth Facebook page. And, if you've got questions for the show, definitely put them on there. You can also go to the webpage and email. We're going to be here every week, and we definitely want to hear from everybody, and we want to be able to answer questions, and definitely get what's on the mind in the Steeler Nation. So, Dwight, had a great time tonight.
Hey, I appreciate it, young fella. Thanks for having me.
Enjoyed it. We'll be back next week. We'll talk about the Washington game and be able to bask in the glow of victory, and we'll get ready for week 2. But I appreciate it, and everybody out there, rollingtruth.net, great shows, CFL, NFL, NFL Pick'em, baseball, boxing, you name it, it's there. And you can download shows on iTunes, Google, Spreaker, anywhere you download podcasts, you're going to find us. Definitely there's some great shows. Definitely listen to that. And come back next week and listen to us, because I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lot to say next week. So for Dwight Stone, Dwight, any final words for everybody out there in the Steeler Nation?
No, I look at it as being a big season. Like you said, it's going to start off with the defense. I think this game right here is going to set the tone for the year. I think they need to come out and let everybody know, hey, this is what we're about. We're serious about, scoring on defense. And like I said, the offense is going to show up. And I'm looking forward to being with you the whole year, going to Super Bowl and winning that. And it's in Houston, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And being here in Texas right now, so you're going to have to get here. We're going to go to a game. We're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Wow, that sounds
going to a Steelers Super Bowl is on my bucket list. So
hey, it's your backyard.
We got to get that done. So
sounds great.
Well, everybody, I look forward to everybody listening next week. And for Dwight Stone, I'm Brian Schmidt, and we will see you all next week. Take care, everybody.